and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to share with you 3 different vegetables that I probably only know about because I shop at Asian grocery stores. Ever since becoming vegan, I have been shopping at Asian grocery stores, primarily because of the produce. You have more options and it tends to be cheaper. You also will find things there that you will not find at your local grocery store. Other benefits of shopping at Asian grocery stores include lots of great sauces, dried seaweeds, dried mushrooms, good prices on tofu, limitless noodle options, and just so much more. But we're talking produce today, and if you want to join me in a world beyond cauliflower and carrots, I have some options. First up, crown daisy. Crown daisy is actually one of the first vegetables I started buying at an Asian grocery store that I didn't know what it was. It's also called chrysanthemum greens, and it is the greens from a certain type of chrysanthemum flower. Sometimes the stalks will be thicker than this. The leaves are always very light and delicate, almost lacy in appearance. You can eat these raw, but I usually cook them. I've found that crown daisy tends to be one of the most affordable greens. You can see I have quite a large bunch there, and I think it was about $2.50. All of the groceries I'm sharing today, I did actually get from my online Asian grocery store. I'll put a link to that in the description if you're interested. Crown daisy has a very delicate green and almost floral flavor. Because the flavor is so delicate, you might be tempted to pair it with other delicately flavored things, but it can actually take a lot more flavor than you'd think. The one thing you do want to be careful about is not overcooking it. When I cook crown daisy, just like I'm going to do today, I typically blanch it for about 30 seconds to a minute and no longer. Where I live in New England, it's pretty traditional in the fall to decorate your porch with mums. It was only about 1.5 years ago that I put together that mum was short for chrysanthemum. Who knew? All right, let's cook some crown daisy. So normally when I'm cooking crown daisy, I get ones that have longer stems than these. So I'll cut them in half and put the thicker stems to one side and leave the flowerier bits to the other. However, today they're all pretty short stems, so none of them are that thick. I'm just gonna cook it all as one piece. Boiling water. Crown daisy. Now we're gonna strain and shock under cold water. Cooked greens, it's very important that you shock them under cold water or they will keep on cooking, and we don't want that. Next thing we're gonna do is just squeeze all the excess water out of the greens. Now let's assemble a little sauce. I've started with about 2 tablespoons of almond butter. Next I'm going to add some sriracha, maybe about 1 to 2 tablespoons. Soy sauce, about 2 tablespoons. Just a splash of apple cider vinegar. I would use rice wine vinegar if I had it, but I don't, so that'll do. Finally, let's add a little bit of sesame oil, maybe about 1 tablespoon, and mix until creamy. I suggest you use a bigger bowl than this. We've got our greens on our plate. We've got our sauce. Combine the two together. For our finishing touches, I'm going to add some sesame seeds, black and white, and finish off with some crispy fried onions. Now, I actually bought these at my local Indian grocery store, and they have been one of the best impulse purchases I've ever made. They make anything you put them on better. Ramen, sandwiches, anything. They're great. Done. Lotus root. Now, lotus root is an edible rhizome that grows underneath a lotus flower. Here's what mine looks like. You can see that it's a little bit oxidized. I've had it in my fridge for a few days, and these do oxidize very quickly. One of the easiest ways to deal with it oxidation is just to take the back of your knife, not the sharp side, and scrape it across. That way you remove the oxidized part that you don't want to eat, but you keep all the bits that you do want to eat intact. This is what it looks like on the inside. It has a beautiful, almost mandala-like shape. Now, lotus root can be eaten raw, but again, I don't usually do that. You can also put it in soups and stews, and it maintains a nice crunchy texture. You can also, of course, fry them and get them crispy, which is, needless to say, my favorite option. Today, I think we're going to make some lotus chips out of it. They have almost like a potato quality. As I said before, when you cook them, they don't get mushy like a potato or a carrot would. They stay really nice and crunchy. In my opinion, one of their biggest features, however, is that beautiful cross section. It's just so unique and stunning. Let's start by filling this bowl with some cold water. Let's add a splash of vinegar and set it aside. We're gonna start with the lotus by scraping away the oxidized bits of skin. I'm gonna use my mandolin to get some nice thin slices. Always use that guard thing that I totally still have when using a mandolin. When you have your slices, plop them in your prepared water so they don't oxidize. This is a really interesting angle. I'm quite literally doing a back bend right now, but I don't want to move my camera. Also, I read you can eat lotus raw, but it occurs to me I never have. There is almost like an apple-like quality to it, but it's very fibrous and also has that sort of dirt flavor of a potato. Not my favorite thing, mostly because the texture is so fibrous. We're gonna spread out the lotus root and then dry them off as much as possible. In our bowl, we're gonna add a couple tablespoons of oil and some spices. I'm gonna start with some nutritional yeast, salt, of course, pepper, and some onion powder. And let's add a little bit of our Szechuan peppercorn as well. Mix. And then we're gonna toss our lotus root in the flavored oil. We've laid all of our lotus out on a baking tray in a single layer, and I'm just gonna bake them at 350 for around 20 minutes. I do have more, so I'm gonna do a second batch after that. Last up, I thought we would cook with this. This is called Celtuce or stem lettuce. Now, all of these things that I've showed you today actually do have other names too, because virtually every culture they're eaten in has a different name for them. So I'm just sharing the names I use with you, but stem lettuce or Celtuce. So you can see that it's like a very weird and knobbly looking shape that tapers to the end where there might be some leaves poking out. Sometimes they will cut the leaves off so you don't get those, but either way, the leaves would have been there. So usually when you grow lettuce, the stem is very small, which is good for us because we don't really eat it. But in this case, you can eat the stem of stem lettuce. Here's a cross section. You can see that it's very juicy. It has a flavor kind of like lettuce meets celery meets peanuts. I really don't know what it is about it, and maybe it's just me, but I've always felt like stem lettuce tastes kind of like peanuts. So the outer skin is a little bit tough. It is a stem like celery, which means that it grows up, which means that if you cut it this way, you're cutting with the fibers. So to make it a better eating experience, I tend to cut either crosswise or on a diagonal. So to sort of break up the fibers and to prevent any sort of like stringy quality. Now, stem lettuce can also be eaten raw and eaten cooked. I've actually done it both ways. I do like to eat it raw and to put it in like a very vinegary marinade, almost like a pickle. I also really enjoy stir frying it, so that is what we're going to be doing today. Let's prep our stem lettuce. The very bottom is completely oxidized, so we're just gonna cut that off. And then we'll use a peeler to get rid of the outer skin. Underneath the green, there's almost this like reddish color. You do want to remove that as well. For tougher parts, you might want to use a knife to get this skin off. However, using a peeler will make it more likely that you don't peel off more than you need to. So I prefer to do it that way when possible. If you let this sit in your fridge a little too long, they'll get sort of limp almost. They should still be perfectly edible, but ideally you'd be getting to them when they're nice and crisp like this. We're gonna cut this way on a diagonal. Now we've got pieces that look like this. We can just chop them this way to get some sort of julienne-like slices. Look at that. That's just from one stem lettuce. That's a huge amount. It's stir fry time. We're gonna keep things pretty simple. Start with some oil and some heat. We're gonna add a couple dried chilies and about half an onion. Let's add about a teaspoon of minced ginger and 2 cloves of garlic, sliced. Let's add a little bit of soy sauce. We're gonna add some vinegar. This is actually a pawpaw vinegar. I made it from the pawpaw tree in my yard, but use whatever vinegar you have. Szechuan peppercorn has that numbing quality and this really like almost citrusy flavor that I really like. And then let's get this in a bowl. I'm gonna start off with this Crown Daisy and almond butter sauce. This is very similar to a recipe on my website where you do Crown Daisy in tahini. So it's not quite the same, but the idea is pretty much the same. The spice, the salty, nutty almond butter, and then the floralness from the Crown Daisy like punches through. The stems still have a good amount of crunch to them, but the leaves are very soft. The greens, before you cook them and dress them, have a bit of a bitterness to them, but in this scenario, they're almost a little bit sweet. They're incredibly delicious. Crown Daisy really is one of my favorite vegetables. Stem lettuce. This one has a very savory smell to it. A lot of crunch, but it's very soft. It's almost the texture of when you cook a cucumber. The flavor is relatively delicate. You get the Szechuan peppercorn, you get the saltiness from the soy sauce, and you get almost the peanutty flavor of the stem lettuce. I'm really curious, if you've had stem lettuce, let me know. Does it taste peanut-y to you, or is that just me? Am I just weird? It's a very subtle amount of garlic and onion and chili, and they all just sort of melt together in this really almost polite manner. Very nice, very refreshing. Again, another one of my favorite vegetables are lotus root chips. Now these did not cook super evenly, probably because my oven's not super even at cooking things, but it ended up looking pretty good. I think if you wanted a really nice fry and super even chips, you would fry them. There's such a good crunch to those. It has this really delicious potato-y flavor, but not quite like a potato, almost like a little bit more bitter than a potato. You get that really good crunch with just the tiniest hint of chew. Again, I think if you fried them, you'd lose a little bit more of that chew and it'd just be crunch. That little bit of nooch in there adds a bit of cheesiness. I'm probably going to eat a lot of these way too quickly. And I just love how pretty they are. That's all for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while I showed you a few of my favorite Asian grocery store vegetable finds. I would love to know in the comments what some of yours are. I'm always looking to try new produce, and I would love suggestions. If you could like this video, we would very much appreciate it. And if you subscribe and turn on notifications, you can easily see when we next post. Bye! Oh, and Americans, or anyone else this is relevant to, let's get money out of politics, yeah? Okay.